Welcome to Roll, Ponder, and Play, a podcast dedicated to crafting stories through the application of role-playing game engines, combined with creative thinking and propelled into the ether by the barest of prompts. I'm Jared Hess, taking on all the roles of Game Master, Solo Player, Author, and Narrator. Come with me on a journey, and together let us explore realms of shadow, danger, and wonder. One role can decide the fate of many things. Welcome to what is technically the very first episode, our episode 0, or session 0, if you will, of the Queen of Shadows podcast on Roll, Ponder, and Play. I'm Jared Hess, your friendly neighborhood game master, solo player, author, and narrator. In my previous upload to this podcast, I can't call it an episode really, I described the origin and impetus for the Queen of Shadows podcast series. And now on to episode 0 of Queen of Shadows, where we will discover our character and do some world building. Alright, so here we go. So I started this back in 2020 on RPGsolo.com. I started playing the game in a play-by-post sort of format, and I have many episodes written up there. And I am going to transfer that, or try to, into the narrative form. Yes, that is the goal, my friends. So, what did I write back then, way back on August 4th, 2020? That was when this started. I wrote this game. I'm trying something new. I recently discovered the Ironsworn RPG and have been anxious to give it a try. It's a fantastic system based on the simple apocalypse world mechanics. It is designed for solo play, but it also contains information for GM-less co-op play and guided play with the GM. It's light on the mechanics and the crunchiness, but those are the kinds of games I like best for solo roleplay. Plus, the PDF of the game is free, and it's freaking awesome. The instructions are beautifully laid out, with plenty of examples and diagrams. The writing is well done. I was so impressed by the layout, in fact, and the writing, that I purchased a print copy of the books and cards to support the author. I hope you can pick up a copy of the free PDF at least and give it a try at ironswornrpg.com. Alright, so I'll be using some of their Oracle tables as well as rolling things from RPG Solo from time to time. RPG Solo has many built-in oracles of their own. So here we go. The setting from the PDF. The Ironlands is a vast peninsula in the Northern Ocean. The people, who now refer to themselves as Ironlanders, settled here 2 generations ago, cast out of their homelands by a catastrophic event. Since that time, they have survived but not prospered. The Ironlands are a harsh, dangerous place. The winters are long and brutal. Harvests are uncertain. Depending on the choices you make as you create your version of the Ironlands, monstrous beasts and dreaded horrors may be a constant threat. So, think gritty, low-magic fantasy with Viking-like culture and a rugged, untamed wilderness fraught with danger. That was how I perceived it. So, here is our character. Aelwyn, Huntress of the Vales. So from the PDF about the Vales, well, about Ironsworn characters, I guess, others live out their lives, hardly venturing beyond the walls of their village or steading, but you are different. Your sworn vows will lead you to a life of danger, heroism, and sacrifice at the edge of the known world. Your character is highly competent. You're smart, brave, and driven. You can hold your own in a fight. When you swear an iron vow, you mean it. You are not without your limitations. You'll face hardship. You'll make bad decisions. You will fail. Overcoming those failures, pushing on, is what makes you heroic. All right, so the name is Aelwyn, daughter of Cadfael and Arwood, and her stats are Edge 2, Heart 1, Iron 1, Shadow 3, Wits 2. And her starting tracks, of course, are health at 5, spirit at 5, supply at 5, and momentum at 2. So in this game, edge represents quickness and agility and prowess in ranged combat. Heart is courage, willpower, empathy, sociability, and loyalty. Iron is physical strength, endurance, aggressiveness, and prowess in close combat. Shadow is sneakiness, deceptiveness, and cunning. Wits is expertise, knowledge, and observation. Spirit is your mental or emotional state. Supply is an abstraction of preparedness for things like ammunition, food, water, and general upkeep. Momentum is how well I'm faring on a quest, and it starts at +2. So I need to choose my 3 starting assets. These represent backgrounds, skills, and traits. There are 4 types of assets: companions, paths, combat talents, and rituals. So I chose these 3. The first one is Archer. If you wield a bow, when you secure an advantage by taking a moment to aim, choose your approach and add +1. At least that's the first marked attribute, or not attribute, thing that you get on the asset. I chose Cutthroat. If you wield a dagger or knife, when you are in a position to strike at an unsuspecting foe, choose 1 before rolling, add +2 and take +1 momentum on a hit, or inflict +2 harm on a hit. And then I chose a ritual, Shadow Walk. When you cloak yourselves with the gossamer veil of the shadow realms, roll +shadow. On a strong hit, take +1 momentum, then reroll any dice, 1 time only, when you make a move by ambushing, hiding, or sneaking. On a weak hit, as above, but the shadows try and lead you astray. You must face danger to find your way. So I chose 2 combat talents and 1 ritual. For her assets, I only get the first checkbox in each of those. The others I can get through character advancement. Next, I roll up the settlement name that she's from. So I rolled up a 94 and a 54 for the name of Frostbridge, from the prefix frost and the suffix bridge on the quick settlement name generator. So I live in a settlement called Frostbridge. I think this means our settlement is high up in the mountains, and nearby there's a bridge of ice across a chasm that falls into icy, foggy depths below. It's up in the Veiled Mountains. This is a region of the Ironlands that is shrouded in clouds, endless snows, and ice, and things more dangerous that move among the high mountains. So from the PDF, it gives this description about the Vales. Commonly referred to as the Vales, these great mountains mark the northern bounds on the settled lands. They are almost perpetually shrouded in cloud, snow, and mist. On a rare day, they are visible to those Ironlanders far south in the havens. The sight of the towering peaks is enough to inspire a mix of fear and awe. For a few, that feeling is a call rather than a warning. The Ironlanders who dwell here are mostly members of small mining communities. They seek fortunes in iron or silver, but often find only death in the endless, brutal cold. Even those who manage to eke out some sort of life among the Vales are sure to head south before the onset of winter, before the long dark takes hold. I'll say that the settlement is slowly waning. Other settlements have succumbed to the never-ending cold and ice, and this one doesn't appear far off. In fact, Frostbridge rarely sees anyone else up here. But the hunting and the occasional iron ore they find and trade helps keep the settlement eking along. Mabon, at least, is a capable chieftain. He's fair, honest, and keeps others in line. So I'll now roll trouble on the Settlement Trouble Oracle. And I got a 26. Someone is missing. I will say it's the chieftain himself, Mabon. He went out hunting for food. The settlement always hunts for food. Nothing can grow in these cold, dark wastes. And that can't be good for the settlement. So, does Aylwin have any siblings? And this is when I will use the RPGsolo.com oracles. They have some buttons that you can click that give likelihood and then responses. So I chose likely and got a yes and. So that's a strong yes. I say that means she has 1 twin but no other siblings. Does she and her twin get along? 50-50. I rolled an 8 and got a yes. Her twin brother's name is Aaron. Are Elwyn's parents still alive? 50-50 chance. I roll a 6. Yes, but. But what? Were they injured? 50-50 chance. Roll of a 4. No. Illness then. Okay, so cool idea. I think they have uncovered a tomb locked away in the mountains while hunting and contracted a disease or a curse amidst the dusty bones. I can use that. So she starts with some bonds. These are connections with people or settlements. Starts with a bond with her brother and with Frostbridge itself and with another settler I haven't determined yet. Okay, so now it's time to flesh out the world a little bit more now that we have our character done. And we do this by choosing different options or using our own cool ideas. The old world. The Heralds of Night. This is my change. So the PDF has there was a vicious schooled clan, but I changed it. I wanted more like demon creatures. So I chose that the Heralds of Night stepped from the great storm and invaded the kingdoms of old. Slithering horrors of bone, shadow, and blood that whispered doom. Our armies fell. Most were killed or taken into slavery, or worse. Those who escaped set sail aboard anything that would float. After an arduous, months-long voyage, the survivors made landfall upon the Ironlands. Okay, so there's creatures called the Heralds of Night, demon-like creatures. Iron. The imposing hills and mountains of the Ironlands are rich in iron ore. Most prized of all is the star-forged black iron. Legacies. Before the Ironlanders, before even the Firstborn, other people were here. Their ancient ruins are found throughout the Ironlands. Communities. We live in communities called circles. These are settlements ranging in size from a steading with a few families to a village of several hundred. Some circles belong to nomadic folk. Some powerful circles might include a cluster of settlements. We trade and sometimes feud with other circles. Leaders. Numerous clan chiefs rule over petty domains. Most are intent on becoming the one true king. Their squabbles will be our undoing. Though I will say that Frostbridge is mostly removed from that. They probably do still fall under the domain of some clan chief, but no one has seen a tax collector in ages because they are so far remote. And I will be using the quest starter from this leaders category as my overarching epic background quest. So to find information on that, just see my prologue or listen to my prologue. Okay, defense. The wardens are our soldiers, guards, and militia. They serve their communities by standing sentry, patrolling surrounding lands, and organizing defenses in times of crisis. Most have strong ties to their community. Others, called free wardens, are wandering mercenaries who hire on to serve a community or protect caravans. Mysticism. Magic is rare and dangerous, but those few who wield the power are truly gifted. Religion. A few Ironlanders still make signs or mumble prayers out of habit or tradition, but most believe the gods long ago abandoned us. Firstborn. The Firstborn have passed into legend. Most say the remnants of the old tribes still dwell in deep forests or high mountains. Most believe they were never anything more than myth. Beasts. Monstrous beasts stalk the wild areas of the Ironlands. And finally, horrors. We are wary of dark forests and deep waterways, for monsters lurk in those places, in the depths of the long night when all is wreathed in darkness. Only fools venture beyond their homes. And that, my friends, is pretty much it for initial world building. After this, it's our very first episode 1. So hope you enjoyed getting a little bit about the setting and the character, and we'll see you next time. Thank you for joining us, and I sincerely hope you enjoyed what you experienced. If you would like to support Roll, Ponder, and Play, you can do so by joining my Patreon at patreon.com/Roll, Ponder, and Play. There you can also find transcripts, show notes, and other projects I'm involved in. If you would like to reach out to me, you can find me on Patreon or on Discord at Roll, Ponder, and Play, or by email at rollponderandplay@gmail.com. Until we meet again, may your own dice rolls ever bring you success.